Everything you are today, your fears, the skills that suddenly appeared, even the love that came unexpectedly, is not by chance. Every detail of your life is part of a story far older than yourself. I'm not referring to destiny. I'm talking about reincarnation. You might carry secrets from previous lives within your soul, and today we're going to explore 9 signs that prove this. Whether you're skeptical or already believe, even your doubt might be a memory trying to resurface. Reincarnation is an ancient idea, far older than the great civilizations we learn about in school. Simply put, it suggests that our journey doesn't start at birth nor end at death. Life is a continuous flow of experiences, learning, and transformation. Think about those people who seem to possess deep wisdom from a young age, while others struggle with even the simplest lessons. Or consider children who display incredible talents without ever having trained. These mysteries lead many to believe that life is more complex than it appears. But if reincarnation is real, why don't we remember past lives? Many spiritual teachings say that the veil of forgetfulness is necessary. It allows us to begin anew, free from the emotional burdens of previous existences. Imagine carrying all the pain, loss, and trauma from past lives. It would be unbearable for most. Still, some clues manage to slip through. I've had moments like this myself. Once, while visiting a country I had never been to before, I felt as though I was coming home. The streets, the scent in the air, the sounds of the language, it all felt familiar. There was no logical explanation. In that moment, I realized there might be more to me than I had understood. For the curious, that country was England, specifically London. Is anyone here from there? Continuing, much like the opening lines of a captivating book, the concept of reincarnation grabs the mind and heart. It is a belief rooted in some of humanity's oldest and most respected traditions. By exploring your past selves, you gain better insight into who you are today. Your preferences, tendencies, and even the traits you can't explain start to make sense. It's like completing a puzzle that was once incomplete. And here's the practical part. How can you tell if you've lived before? How do you recognize the signs your soul is trying to show you? There are clear and powerful indicators that many people experience throughout their lives. These are not coincidences or fleeting thoughts. They are deep marks, visible to those who pay attention. Situations that once seemed strange or meaningless become part of a larger picture, revealing your true self. As you learn about each sign, think about how many have appeared in your own life. Now, let's begin. Sign 1. Intense and frequent déjà vu. You felt this. You're in a completely new place with no memories or logical reason to feel connected, yet suddenly it's as if time has reversed. The air's smell, background noises, the way light falls, it all feels eerily familiar. That's déjà vu, and it's not just a trick of the mind. For a long time, Science tried to explain déjà vu as a brief brain glitch or processing error. But those who have had profound experiences know it's something deeper, something that touches the soul. Many scholars and spiritual traditions see déjà vu as a crack between the present and the past, a moment when a memory from another life breaks through the layers of forgetfulness that usually separate us from who we once were. Think about it. Why would your heart race at the sight of a street you've never seen? Why would you feel like you've already been part of a conversation that's supposed to be happening for the first time? These moments aren't random. They're flashes, traces from previous existences. Here's something important. The more frequent and intense your déjà vu, the more likely it's connected to past lives. People who experience strong déjà vu often describe it as vivid and emotional. These aren't simple feelings of familiarity. They are moments when everything seems to have happened exactly that way before. I'll share a true story. I met someone extremely rational who never cared about spirituality or reincarnation, until one day it changed. They traveled to a small ancient village in a country they had never visited. The place was historic, with narrow alleys and buildings frozen in time. As soon as they arrived, something happened. While walking, they were overwhelmed by a strange yet familiar feeling. Despite never having been there, they knew exactly where every street ended. Their bodies seemed to guide them as if they were returning to a place left behind centuries ago. They stopped in front of a small square, and suddenly tears came to their eyes, not from sadness or happiness, but from longing. Later, locals explained that the square once hosted markets and gatherings centuries ago. The person described in detail an old fountain that no longer existed, but was recorded in the city's archives. At that moment, everything made sense. The déjà vu wasn't just a brain glitch, but a memory of the soul, a piece of who they had been breaking through the unconscious to say, "We've been here before." That's how déjà vu reveals itself. When it happens deeply, it's a sign that some experiences transcend lifetimes and resist being forgotten. So next time you feel like you've already lived or seen something new, don't dismiss it. It might be your soul reminding you who you truly are and what you have already experienced. Sign 2. Instant connections. Some people enter our lives slowly, needing time to bond and build relationships. Others feel like they've always been there from the very moment they arrive. It's immediate, deep, and hard to explain, a connection formed at the very first glance or gesture with no effort. You feel as if you know that person as part of a story that didn't begin now. This is a reunion of souls, and when it happens, it's one of the strongest signs we've lived before. These instant bonds are common among those who have journeyed through many lifetimes. People and places become imprinted on our essence, and when we meet them again, even in different contexts, the recognition is immediate. I've witnessed this many times. Two people meeting for the first time but acting like old friends. Their interactions are natural, familiar, and impossible to ignore. They laugh, exchange looks, and understand each other without long explanations, as if they are simply picking up something that existed long ago. What's fascinating is that they themselves notice this. Soon, they comment on how it feels like they've known each other for years, finishing each other's sentences, predicting reactions, and recalling similar experiences. Every detail confirms this instant harmony. No one forces it. It just happens. This kind of connection goes beyond friendship or instant chemistry. When we live multiple lives, we form deep bonds with other souls, friends, lovers, partners on a shared journey, who find each other again and again. Time doesn't matter. It could have been one life or 10, but the essence recognizes itself. You feel it in the comfort their presence brings, in how easily you understand each other, and in silences that are never awkward. The same happens with places. Some embrace you the moment you arrive, as if your feet already know where to step, and your heart beats in rhythm with the surroundings. It's not about charm or beauty. It's about reunion. Some call it destiny or coincidence, but when these connections happen so naturally and powerfully, the meaning is clear. You've been with these souls or in these places before. Life is not just about beginnings. It's about continuities, stories that cross time and intersect again to teach, heal, or simply continue. Sign 3, wisdom and talent. Some people seem to have something extra. From an early age, they display surprising talents without much training or effort. It comes naturally, as if they brought it from somewhere else. Anyone who has watched a child pick up a musical instrument and play as if they've practiced for years understands what I mean, or that naturally is some people have when learning languages, leading others, or grasping complex ideas as though they've always been familiar with them. This isn't just luck or a simple talent, it's accumulated experience. When we live multiple lives, we carry fragments of knowledge from past journeys. That's why sometimes, when we start something new, it feels like it's already inside us. My sister Letitia is a perfect example. Since she was 8, without any formal lessons, she could draw with remarkable accuracy and emotion. When we asked her how she learned or knew what to do, she just said she felt it and then drew. That's exactly it. In many cases, what we call innate talents are really deep-rooted memories of skills developed in previous lives. Maybe this person was once an artist who spent years honing their craft. Though the body changes, the soul remembers. And it's not limited to artistic or technical skills. Sometimes it's wisdom about life itself. A child offering advice you'd expect from someone with decades of experience. These are clear signs. Wisdom arriving unexpectedly. Talents emerging without explanation. So if something feels completely natural to you, pay attention. It might not be new. It could be your soul showing what it has known how to do for a very long time. Sign 4, spontaneous memories or vivid dreams. Some memories come out of nowhere. They don't fit logically or trace back to your current life, yet they carry a powerful presence. Sometimes they appear as dreams so lifelike they leave a lasting impression, as if they truly happened. You see yourself in places you've never visited, dressed in clothes from long past eras, facing situations unrelated to your current story, and still, it all feels deeply familiar. This happens more often than we realize. When the mind relaxes, like during sleep, memories from past lives can surface. They appear as flashes, full stories, or sensations that go beyond reason. One follower shared with me about her recurring dreams of living in an ancient village, always playing the same role. Initially, she thought it was just imagination, but the details were so vivid they disturbed her. She researched historical images of that time and was amazed to find places and symbols exactly matching her dreams, despite never having studied that era. This goes beyond mere fantasy. It's the soul's memory trying to break through. And it's not only during sleep. During moments of deep relaxation or even casual conversations, certain images may suddenly pop into your mind for no clear reason. A scene appears fully formed. You don't know where it came from, but you sense it's more than just your imagination. These are the soul's expressions, records escaping the unconscious and revealing themselves when you're ready. The soul keeps everything. Sign 5. Fears or phobias without obvious cause. Some fears emerge without any logical explanation. They weren't learned or caused by trauma in this life, yet they exist, sometimes strongly, even from childhood, and defy any rational reason. Fear of water without ever having nearly drowned. Fear of heights without ever falling. Claustrophobia without ever being trapped. These automatic reactions can't be explained solely by current life experiences. When this happens, the answer may lie in past lives. Traumatic events from former existences tend to leave deep imprints that transcend time. These manifest as blockages, fears, or phobias. They're not conscious, they're instinctual. The body reacts before the mind understands. It's the soul protecting itself from reliving old pain. These signs point to unresolved issues needing attention. Ignoring these fears only prolongs their hold. When we recognize they might stem from past lives, we create space to understand and, more importantly, heal. Fear weakens when brought into awareness. It stops being an inexplicable barrier and becomes an opportunity for growth and freedom. Living with irrational phobias is like carrying burdens that don't belong to this lifetime. Understanding their origins is the first step toward releasing them. The soul doesn't want to stay stuck in the past. It wants to move forward. To do so, it's necessary to look inward and face what still echoes from old stories. Sign 6. Fascination with different eras and cultures. Some people feel a deep, inexplicable pull towards specific historical periods or civilizations. This isn't casual curiosity or a passing fancy. It's a visceral fascination, stirring emotions like longing for a time they never technically lived in. Such a strong connection to a particular time or culture is one of the clearest signs of past life experience. The soul recognizes what it has known before. Even if the conscious mind doesn't recall, something inside lights up. When this fascination is intense, persistent, and emotionally charged, it often points to unconscious memories from a previous existence. The language, clothing, rituals, architecture, and symbols evoke a sense of belonging that can't be explained simply by external influences or education. Sometimes, this fascination appears through fiction, old movies, or stories set in medieval worlds or mythical realms, like The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. It feels like you belong to that universe, like you've walked those imaginary lands before. This is another clue that the soul connects with patterns and memories beyond this lifetime. Even fantasy often carries archetypes and symbols that speak directly to the unconscious, awakening memories only the soul can access. Sign 7. Feeling like an old soul. Some people carry the weight of many lifetimes, even in youth. They display maturity in their speech, in how they face challenges, and in a deep gaze that seems to see beyond the surface. While many get caught up in distractions and trivial matters, these individuals watch, reflect, and often choose silence over meaningless chatter. It's as if they intuitively know life is made of cycles, ups and downs, meetings and farewells. This feeling of being different, thinking deeply, and not fitting in with others' usual concerns is a clear sign the soul has traveled many paths. The phrase "old soul" isn't random. It describes someone who has lived through much, learned many lessons, and carries that invisible baggage. It's not about being superior or smarter, but about having experienced enough to see life from a unique perspective. Those who feel like old souls often notice certain things don't affect them like they do others. There's a calmness, patience, even a certain melancholy that arises from within. This happens because many illusions of this life have already been overcome in past lives. Old souls aren't easily swayed by trends, aren't impressed by superficial things, and seek connection with what is genuine and meaningful. This feeling also shows in relationships. Old souls often attract others who unconsciously seek guidance or comfort. It's as if they radiate an energy of wisdom and warmth that others sense and trust. Behind all this lies silent memories of past journeys. Every challenge faced, love experienced, and loss endured shaped their essence, now expressed in small gestures, wise words, and a presence that seems to carry centuries of stories. If you feel different, deep, or out of place, understand this isn't a flaw. It's a sign your soul has lived far more than what your current life's eyes can reveal. Sign 8. Recurring life lessons and patterns. Some experiences repeat at different points in life, as if they're chapters of the same story with new characters, but the same core lesson. Relationships that follow identical patterns. Emotional challenges that return in new forms. Mistakes repeated despite efforts to change. It's as if something is trying to show you a truth you haven't yet fully grasped. These cycles are not just bad luck, punishment, or mere coincidence. They are lessons that the soul still needs to fully absorb. When an experience hasn't been integrated, it repeats itself. Often, these repetitions don't even begin in this lifetime. They come from far away, from unfinished stories, unresolved emotions, or promises left unfulfilled. The soul, in its pursuit of balance and growth, attracts situations that help close those open chapters. That's why, when you honestly examine these recurring patterns, you realize they carry a message. Something is being presented to you, something that demands courage to confront and awareness to transform. Many of these cycles appear as themes such as abandonment, rejection, authority struggles, dependency, loss, inner conflicts, and even addictions, which we covered in a dedicated video. They manifest outwardly, but are reflections of inner soul dynamics. Recognizing this changes everything. From that moment on, you stop living on autopilot and start finding meaning in the repetitions. The pain gains context. The persistence of life reveals itself as the soul's own persistence in evolving. These patterns act like mirrors, showing what still needs healing, integration, and release. Once the lesson is truly grasped, the cycle comes to an end. The experience no longer repeats because the soul has finally learned what it came to understand. This is liberating. It's the moment when life stops feeling like a never-ending series of tests. Before moving on to sign 9, I want to remind you that today, May 11th, is the last day to use the Mother's Day coupon for the Quantum Thinking Challenge. The coupon expires at midnight tonight, so check the pinned comment and take advantage of it. And to all my subscribers who are mothers, Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for being here. Sign 9. The search for something greater, even after all that life has brought. Some people carry a persistent restlessness, as if something is always missing deep inside. No matter what they achieve or how many experiences they gather, that feeling remains. It's as if part of them knows there's something bigger waiting to be discovered. This continual sense of searching, without fully knowing what it is, often reflects spiritual memory. Souls who have journeyed through many lifetimes carry echoes of what they have lived and what they still aim to fulfill. They know, perhaps unconsciously, that there is more to come. That's why nothing ever feels entirely new or enough. There's a hunger for meaning, for answers that go beyond what's visible or material. It's the soul's drive toward wholeness. Those who feel this usually don't settle for shallow explanations or empty routines. They seek significance in everything: relationships, choices, and the very purpose of their existence. This longing often manifests as an interest in spirituality, philosophy, or inner exploration. When persistent, this feeling becomes a powerful sign. It means the soul is ready to recover memories, integrate lessons, and step into a higher state of awareness. Seeking something greater isn't dissatisfaction, it's ancient wisdom. The soul always knows, even when the mind does not. That's why, even without full understanding, you sense you're still on a journey. Sign 10, bonus, energetic sensitivity. Some individuals possess a heightened sensitivity that goes beyond the ordinary. They easily pick up on the mood of a place, sense the energy of those around them, and absorb emotions with an intensity that can sometimes feel overwhelming. They're the ones who get drained in crowded areas, who are deeply moved, and who unknowingly carry the joys and pains of others. This hypersensitivity is not a weakness. It's a sign of an experienced soul. Souls that have traveled many paths naturally become more open and receptive. They've learned through past lives to connect deeply with their surroundings. This is why, without effort, they sense frequencies others miss. It shows up as profound empathy, sharp intuition, and a tendency for others to seek them out for advice and comfort, even without those individuals saying it aloud. They become the pillars people turn to in times of need. This sensitivity is both a gift and a challenge. It requires maturity not to be overwhelmed by outside emotions, but when well understood, it becomes a powerful tool for healing and connection. Feeling what others feel, perceiving the unspoken, and intuiting possibilities all indicate a soul that has traveled many roads and learned to look beyond the surface. When empathy and sensitivity come so naturally and intensely, it's another proof that the spirit carries the marks of previous lives. However, this role also demands care. Feeling so deeply can be exhausting. Absorbing what belongs to others without realizing it can create emotional imbalances, distract from one's own life, and slowly overwhelm mind and body. That's why sensitive souls need to learn to protect themselves, to set healthy boundaries, recognize when they're giving too much, and prioritize moments of silence, rest, and inner reconnection. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. The sensitive soul requires space to restore balance, or else it ends up carrying burdens that aren't theirs. Clearing energy through meditation, baths, conscious breathing, nature contact, or spiritual practices is essential to avoid losing oneself in overwhelming feelings. Sensitivity is a bridge, not a prison. When nurtured, it becomes a powerful channel for healing oneself and others. But if neglected, it becomes a heavy load that drains vital energy. So, if you feel too much, sense what others don't say, or find yourself constantly sought out for comfort, take care of yourself. Those who feel the world so deeply also need a sanctuary of their own to stay whole. Looking at these signs isn't about being stuck in the past. It's about shining light on the present. It's about recognizing life as continuous, with every experience echoing ancient journeys. Knowing you've lived other lives is not fantasy. It's awareness. It's part of your awakening. When you grasp this, everything changes. Patterns stop being prisons. Pain gains meaning. Encounters become reunions. The soul wants to evolve. It wants to remember. And now the invitation is yours. Which of these signs have shown up in your life? What story is your soul trying to tell? Share in the comments. Your experience might be exact,